Hello everyone, this is Akanksha from English Logger. Today we will start with another chapter, that is chapter number 2 of Helen Keller's The Story of My Life. So let's get started. So here we have the very first paragraph of chapter number 2. I cannot recall what happened during the first months after my illness. What Helen was saying, that she didn't remember or she didn't recall that what had happened with her during the first months of her illness. I only know that I sit in my mother's lap because she was quite upset, or clung to her dress and always roam with her mother as she went about her household duties. My hands felt every object. She used to touch each and every object and observed every motion, that what was going on. And in this way I learned to know many things, and in this way she had learned many things, like to know about the objects and to know about the motion, that somebody is going, somebody is coming, like that. Soon I felt the need of my communication with others, and then she had started, okay, then there was a need of communication to express herself in front of anyone, and which was quite difficult for her because she was feelings, or she had some problem, she because she was suffering with an illness, and that's the reason that why she didn't able to communicate with anyone, but she wanted to, and began to make crude means rough signs. So she had started making signs. She was using sign language to communicate with others. A shake of the head meant no. When she was shaking her head, it means no, and a nod means yes. A pull meant come, and a push meant go. Was it bread that I wanted? Then I would imitate the acts of cutting the slices. Okay, when she wanted a piece of bread, so she started imitating, like acts of cutting of slices and buttering them. It means that she wanted a piece of bread. If I wanted my mother to make ice cream for dinner, so what she did for that, I made the sign for working the freezer, and shivered, indicating cold. So her mother came to know, okay, now Helen wanted ice cream. My mother, moreover, succeeded in making me understand a good deal. I always knew when she wished me to bring her something, and I would run upstairs or anywhere else she indicated. Indeed, I owe to her loving wisdom all that was bright and good in my long night. I understood a good deal of what was going on about me. At 5, I learned to fold and put away the clean clothes when they were brought in from the laundry, and I distinguished my own from the rest. I knew by the way my mother and aunt dressed when they were going out for a party, and I always begged to go with them. I was always sent for when there was company, and when the guests took their leave, I waved my hand to them. I think whether wake means unclear remembrance of the meaning of the gesture. One day some gentleman called on my mother, and I felt the shutting of the front door and other sounds that indicated their arrival. On a sudden thought, I ran upstairs before anyone could stop me, to put on my idea of a company dress, means to dress up. Standing before the mirror, as I had seen others do, I annotated. Here, annotated means to put some oil, a head with oil, and covered my face thickly with powder. Then I pinned a veil over my head just to cover the face, and felt it folds down to my shoulders, and it was falling onto her shoulders. and tied an enormous bustle round my small waist. Enormous means big, so that it dangled behind. Here, dangled meaning that it is just touching or it is swinging and almost meeting the hem of my skirt. Hem means edge of the skirt. Thus, attired, that is, dress, I went down to help entertain the company or to entertain the people. I do not remember. Here, Helen was just recalling the time when she started feeling that okay, fine, I am different from other people, and how. Means she was not able to communicate with others. She wasn't able to express her feelings. So this is all about. I do not remember when I first realized that I was different from other people, but I knew it before my teacher came to me. I had noticed that my mother and my friends did not use signs as I did when they wanted anything done, but talked with their mouths. Sometimes I stood between two persons who were conversing or talking to each other and touched their lips. She was started touching their lips. I could not understand, and it was an issue for her. I moved my lips and gesticulated, that is, showing gesture with excitement without result. This made me so angry at times that I kicked and screamed until I was exhausted. I think I knew when I was naughty, for I knew that it hurt Ella, my nurse, to kick her, and when my fit of temper was over, I had a feeling akin to regret. But I cannot remember an instance in which this feeling prevented me from repeating the naughtiness when I failed to get what I wanted. It means that she came to realize that she was different from other people. Sometimes she would touch the lips of other two persons who two are conversing, but when she failed to understand anything, she would get upset. She was very naughty too. She would kick and hurt her nurse Ella, though she felt bad about it later, that after his temper was over. In those days, a little colored girl. Here, colored girl means black girl. Martha, the child of our cook, and Belen, old setter, means dog, and a great hunter in her day, were my constant companions, means to whom she was spending her time. Martha understood my signs, and I seldom had any difficulty in making her to do just as I wished. Means whatsoever Helen wanted to make her do, she was able to do all the things for Helen just because she was able to understand the sign what Helen was showing or shown to her. It pleased me to domineer over her, and she generally submitted to my rule rather than risk a hand to hand encounter. I was strong, active, indifferent to consequences. I knew my own mind well enough and always had my own way, even if I had to fight tooth and nail for it. We spent a great deal of time in the kitchen, kneading duff balls, helping make ice creams, grinding coffee, quarreling over the cake ball, and feeding the hens and turkeys that swarmed about the kitchen steps. Many of them were so tame that they would eat from my hand and let me feel them. One big gobbler snatched a tomato from me one day and ran away with it. Inspired perhaps my master gobbler's success, we carried off to the woodpile cake which the cook had just frosted and ate every bit of it. I was quite ill afterward, and I wonder if retribution also overtook the turkey. So here means now from this paragraph, the bond of these two girl and the companionship between these two will start. Now you will able to read or you will learn about a few of the incidents which they two had done together, which Helen had shared in this. Here is again some of the incidents which Helen wanted to share, and she had shared with us. The guinea fowl likes to hide her nest in out of the way places, and it was one of my greatest delights to hunt for the eggs in the long grass. It means that she would also go with Martha on an egg hunting mission in the gardens. She knew the guinea fowl hid her eggs in the long grass. But I would double my hands and put them on the ground, which meant something round in the grass, and Martha always understood. When we were fortunate enough to find a nest, I never allowed her to carry the eggs home because then she started making her understand by emphatic signs that she might fall and break them. Here the sheds where the corns was stored, the stable where the horses were kept, and the yard where the cows were milked morning and evening were unfading sources of interest to Martha and me. The milkers would let me keep my hands on the cows while they milked, and I often got well swished by the cow for my curiosity. Here is the making ready for Christmas. Though Helen didn't know anything about Christmas, she enjoyed the pleasant smell that filled the house and the tidbits. Tidbits means tasty food that were given to Martha and her. They were allowed to grind the spices and pick up the raisins. Raisins means dried grapes. Helen cannot remember if the ceremony ever interested her in any special way. She was excited also for her gift. This incident will show you that how much these two girls were naughty. Martha had as great a love of mischief as I, means the two were naughty only. Two little children, here she talked about these two girls, Martha and Helen, were seated on the veranda steps one hot July afternoon. One was black, that was Martha, with little bunches of frizzy hair, tight golden curls. One child was 6 years old, and the other 2 or 3 years old, that was Helen. The younger child was blind, Helen, that was I, and the other was Martha. We were busy cutting out paper dolls, but we soon wearied, means tired of this amusement, and after cutting, then they started cutting up their shoestrings, clipping all the leaves off the honeysuckles that were within reach. Then I turned my attention to Martha's corkscrew. It's a type of a screw. She objected to give at first, but finally she submitted because she thought of that it is like play and turn by turn we need to give. So then she seized the scissors and cut off one of my curls and would have cut them all off. Thank God that mother timely interference. Here is another incident with her dog Billy. Billy, our dog, my other companion, was old and lazy. She was very old and she was very lazy. That irritated Helen. Helen recalls like Helen tried to teach the dog Belle her sign language, but the dog showed no interest of it. It irritated her the most, but she felt helpless. One day she got her apron wet also. So that's the another incident. Here is Belle, our dog. My other companion was old and lazy and liked to sleep by the open fire rather than to romp with me, means to do some activity. I tried hard to teach her my sign language, but she was dull and inattentive, not interested. She sometimes started and shake with excitement, then she became perfectly rigid, as dogs do. When they point a bird, did not then know why Billy acted in this way, but I knew she was not doing as I wished. This irritates me or irritated her, and the lesson always ended in one-sided boxing match. It means that only Helen put initiative to do. Then Belle would get up, stretch herself lazily, give one or two hateful sniffs, go to the opposite side of the hearth, that is the floor of a fireplace, and lie down again. And I, weird and disappointed, went off in search of Martha, her another companion. Many such incidents of those early days are fixed in my memory, isolated but clear and distinct. making the sense of that silent, aimless, dayless life all the more intense. This is another incident when she almost like about to burn herself. So this is the incident that one day she got her apron wet. In order to dry it, she came very close to the fire. As her clothes caught fire, she made a terrified noise. Then her old nurse Winnie came for her rescue, throwing a blanket over her. She almost suffocated her, but she put out the fire except from her hands and hair, and she was not badly burned. And just Winnie came and saved her life and her. This the incident, the mischief with the key, when she locked her mother as well as her teacher, Miss Sullivan. About this time, I found out the use of key. One morning, I locked my mother up in the pantry when she was obliged to remain 3 hours as the servants were in a detached part of the house. She kept pounding on the door while I sat outside on the porch steps and laughed with glee as I felt the jar of the pounding. This most naughty prank of mine convinced my parents that I must be taught as soon as possible. After my teacher, Miss Sullivan, came to me, I sought an early opportunity to lock her in a room. I went upstairs with something which my mother made me understand I was to give to Miss Sullivan, but no sooner had I given it to her than I slammed the door to, locked it, and hid the key under the wardrobe in the hall. I could not be induced to tell where the key was. My father was obliged to get a ladder and take Miss Sullivan out through the window. Much to my delight, months after I produced the key. So here Helen found out the use of the key. One morning she locked her mother up in the pantry. The mother remained knocking at the door for full 3 hours while Helen sat outside and laughed happily. This incident convinced Helen's parents that now she must be taught as soon as possible. When the teacher came, Miss Sullivan, Helen found an opportunity to lock her in the room. She hid the key under the wardrobe. Her father got a ladder and took Miss Sullivan out through the window. Here Helen had written something about her father. When I was about 5 years old, we moved from the little vine covered house to a large new one. The family consisted of my father and mother and two older half brothers, and afterwards a little sister, Mildred. My earliest distinct recollection of my father is making my way through great drifts of newspapers to his side and finding him alone, holding a sheet of paper before his face. So Helen was not able to know about what was that sheet. I was greatly puzzled to know that what he was doing. I imitated this action, even wearing his spectacles, thinking they might help solve the mystery, but not. But I didn't find out the secret for several years. Then she learnt that what those papers were and that her father edited one of them. My father was most loving and indulgent, that is, generous, devoted to his home, seldom leaving us except in the hunting season. He was a great hunter, I have been told, and a celebrated shot. Next to his family, he loved his dogs and gun. His hospitality, means serving, was great, almost to a fault, and he seldom came home without bringing a guest. His special pride was the big garden where it was said he raised the finest watermelons and strawberries in the country, and to me he brought the first ripe grapes and the choicest berries. I remember his caressing touch as he led me from tree to tree, from vine to vine, and his eager delight in whatever pleased me. So, this is all about the relationship of Helen and her father. In this, Helen also experienced about death. I was in the north enjoying the last beautiful days of the summer of 1896 when I heard the news of my father's death. He had had a short illness. There had been a brief time of acute suffering. Then all was over. This was the first great sorrow, my first personal experience with death. Then she was writing that how could she write about her mother, because she did a lot many things for her. She is so near to me that it almost seems indelicate to speak of her. After this, she talked about her sister. For a long time I regarded my little sister as an intruder. Intruder means who comes in the place of someone. So here Helen was thinking that her sister came in place of Helen, and she took her place, and she was jealous about it. I knew that I had ceased to be my mother's only darling, and the thought filled me with jealousy. She sat in my mother's lap constantly, where I used to sit, and seemed to take up all her care and time. One day something happened which seemed to me to be adding insult to injury. Now, what was that incident? We'll see. Now, here is what Helen did in jealousy with her sister. At that time, I had a much petted, much abused doll. She named that doll Nancy. She was, alas, the helpless victim of my outburst of temper, that is aggression, or and of affection, so that she became much the worse for wear. I had dolls which talked and cried and opened and shut their eyes, yet I never loved one of them as I loved poor Nancy. She had a cradle, and I often spent an hour or more rocking her. I guarded both doll and cradle with the most jealous care. But once I discovered my little sister sleeping peacefully in the cradle, at this presumption on the part of one to whom as yet no tie of love bound me that I grew angry, I rushed upon the cradle and overturned it, and the baby might have been killed had my mother not caught her as she fills. Thus it is that when we walk in the valley of twofold solitude, we know little of the tender affections that grow out of entering words and actions and companionship between these two. But afterwards, when I was restored to my human heritage, Mildred and I grew into each other's hearts, so that we were content to go hand in hand wherever caprice led us. Although she could not understand my finger language nor I her childish prattle, it means that she had her doll Nancy, which would become the victim of her outbursts of her anger. In her anger, once she overturned the cradle, the baby might have been killed if the mother had not caught her as she fell. After some years, however, she found in her sister Mildred a good companionship. So this is all about chapter number 2. I just hope that you have understood the chapter. If it is so, mention in the comment section that is below. You can subscribe my channel English Logger. Thank you and have a nice day. Stay tuned for more videos.